Hi, this is Almond Movie Recaps. Today I am going to explain the movie Lucy. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. So let's start. In the beginning of the movie, we see a cell split up into various different cells. Then at that point, we see a chimp in ancient times drinking from a lake. Lucy says that life started billions of years prior and considers exactly how we have managed it from that point forward. In the present, Lucy is outside an inn in Taiwan with her extended bow Richard. He is requesting that she take a folder case up to the room of a Mr. Zhang. She will do nothing for Richard without understanding what it is that he believes her should convey, so he cuffs Lucy's wrist to the handle of the satchel, leaving her with no decision. She enters the hall and lets the assistant know that Richard is sending her up to Zhang, and afterward apprehensively gives her name to the agent. Lucy peers through the window to see Richard grinning and attempting to empower, until he is shot and killed. A gathering of hooligans emerges from the lift and empower Lucy to go up with them. This scene is compared with film of a cheetah pursuing a gazelle, battering it and afterward conveying the gazelle's body in its teeth. They take Lucy to Zhang's loft. There are bloodied bodies on the floor, making Lucy upchuck. Zhang emerges with his hands absorbed blood. He rings up a man on the telephone to decipher for Lucy. She cries, not realizing what is happening or why any of this is going on. Zhang records numbers on a piece of paper, which is the code to open the satchel. Zhang ventures into the following room while his men arm themselves with weapons and safeguards. Lucy opens the folder case, which contains 4 sacks of blue powdered substances. Zhang gets a medicated up man to grunt a portion of the blue powder. The man momentarily shakes and afterward begins snickering twistedly until Zhang shoots him in the head. Lucy is then arranged to finish a work, which she won't do until she gets smacked. Lucy awakens in a lodging. There is a wrap on her stomach. Zhang's men come in and toss her some garments. She is taken to Zhang, alongside 3 different men. An Englishman known as the Limey comes in to clear up for Lucy that she and different men have had a medication called CPH4 stuffed into their lower digestion tracts. The medication should be the following large thing available, and they plan to sneak it across the world. A short time later, Lucy is taken to a room and tied up, where one of the hooligans begins kicking her in the stomach, right where they cut into her. This causes a tear in the medication pack, releasing the powder into Lucy's framework. She starts to squirm and whip all over the room in any event, arriving up to the roof until she falls down to the floor. As all of this occurs, we meet teacher Samuel Norman giving a talk to a study hall on his examination of the cerebrum's ability. He basically makes sense of what could occur on the off chance that people could surpass the recommended 10% mind limit that they use, as well as reactions to specific conditions would permit the cerebrum to submit to everlasting status or proliferation. Fundamentally, in the event that the subject could do without their current circumstance, they would pick everlasting status and move somewhere else, yet assuming they were content with their setting, they would be leaned to imitate, complete with pictures of each and every species participating in intercourse. If, say, people could reach up to 40%, they could control matter. Film of an enchanted show is compared here, for instance. One understudy asks Norman what might occur on the off chance that people came to 100%. He says he can't really understand. Lucy stirs with her eyes gleaming dazzling blue. She sits up standing more settled than previously. A hooligan comes into the room, and Lucy spread her legs to entice him. The hooligan grins and sets out his weapon on the table. As he strolls over to her, Lucy gets his belt and flips him over, then pulls the table over to take the firearm. After she liberates herself, she shoots different hooligans as they're eating. She has chance in the shoulder, yet can recover the slug without feeling torment. She then eats every one of the hooligans' food prior to leaving. She finds 2 men outside and gets one of them to take her to the clinic. While heading to the emergency clinic, Lucy can hear people groups' voices from outside the vehicle. At the point when she gets to the emergency clinic, she can plainly peruse the signs as though they were in English to her. She gets to a working room where specialists are dealing with the man. Lucy takes a gander at the patient's X-beam sweeps and afterward shoots the man, expressing to the specialists that they could never have had the option to save him in light of the fact that the cancer in his mind had proactively spread sufficiently far. She powers the specialists to remove the pack from her stomach. She then calls her mom to tell her that she feels everything, the air, the blood in her veins, the intensity leaving her body, and is even ready to get to the most profound pieces of her recollections, similar to when she was wiped out as a kid or in any event, petting a feline when she was scarcely a year old. She lets her mom know that she adores her prior to hanging up. The specialist hauls the pack of medications out of Lucy's stomach, and after she lets him know that it's CPH4, he lets her know this is the sort of thing that pregnant ladies produce a month and a half into their pregnancy as supplements for the hatchling, and that the specialist is shocked Lucy has endured this long with it in her body. Lucy makes another stop back to the lodging to find Jang as he is busy getting a tattoo and a facial. She kills his watchman and afterward shoos the tattoo craftsman away prior to sting blades in both of Jang's hands. With her freshly discovered powers, she takes advantage of his mind and sees where the other 3 medication donkeys are going in view of pictures their boarding passes. She leaves and Jang lets out a tormented shout. Lucy goes to the loft of her companion Caroline to utilize her PC. All she peruses Norman's exploration in no time then, at that point, reaches him to let him know what she's perused. He is shocked to hear that she read everything, even as she keeps on making sense of what she is feeling and encountering, since she has arrived at up to 20% mind limit. She can control gadgets, showing up on the television in Norman's lodging, as well as his telephone and the radio. She intends to meet with him in 12 hours. Prior to leaving, she prints out a remedy for Caroline, telling her that her liver and kidneys are falling flat, and that she wants to go with new way of life decisions, and she'll be okay. The report about Lucy shooting the patient has spread, so as she clears her path through the air terminal, she changes her hair tone and style. She calls a French police officer, Commander Pierre Del Rio, to illuminate him regarding the other medication donkeys. She then, at that point, gets onto the plane and proceeds with her examination on the cerebrum, composing on her PC at quick-fire pace. The airline stewards request that she switch off her PC, and Lucy requests a glass of champagne, while likewise letting one airline steward to wipe her nose without looking, and the woman's nose drains later. Lucy is given the champagne glass and toasts to information. She tastes and afterward 40% streaks on screen. She finds a tooth in her glass, and afterward she throws up 3 additional teeth. Then her skin begins to break down, on display of the travelers and airline stewards. Lucy races to the restroom, where her fingers begin to vanish and her face starts to kind of soften. She takes out the remainder of the CPH4 and grunts it, re-establishing herself to ordinary, however she drops. Lucy awakens in a medical clinic room, with Del Rio and a couple of different officials and specialists pausing, just after they have secured different donkeys. She sits up immediately, to the caution of a medical caretaker. In the meantime, one of Jang's associates, Jia, comes in with additional equipped men to track down different donkeys. They bring them into a room and cut the medications out of them in the wake of killing them. Lucy leaves the room and is encircled by outfitted men. With an influx of her fingers, she can make it lights out time for them all, with the exception of Del Rio. Together, they track down Jang's men, and with her mind capability now at 60%, she moves them around the corridor and keeps Jia from getting away with the folder case brimming with drugs by making a kind of imperceptible wall. She swipes the medications from Jia and begins to leave, however arranges Del Rio to go with her. He assumes he is of no utilization to her, however she strolls over to him and kisses him, requesting that he come as an update. Lucy utilizes her powers to find another area, taking over Del Rio's vehicle and driving manically through the roads, conceding she's never determined. Jang and Jia follow her. Lucy and Del Rio track down Norman and his partners in a college, where she starts to disclose all she has come to acknowledge, with her intellectual prowess presently surpassing that of a typical person. While this occurs, Jang and his men penetrate the spot and begin shooting. Lucy gives the remainder of the CPH4 to the teachers for them to combine into a fluid material that goes into her circulation system. Her mind capability goes to 70% and her hands begin to transform into a dark diseased kind of goo that connects itself to the PCs in the room, giving Lucy more energy from issue, and in this way providing her with a crazy measure of force. As her cerebrum capability keeps on expanding, she controls matter so that she appears to eradicate everything in the room, leaving the teachers remaining in blank area prior to making another age super PC before their eyes of some sort or another. From outside, as Jang's men are shot somewhere near the police, he arranges Jia to follow through with something. Jia takes a rocket launcher and impacts through the room, sending Lucy great many miles to Times Square. She figures out how to move time with a flut of her hand. She ventures in reverse from mid-20th century New York to provincial times, even the entire way to ancient times to encounter the chimp from the initial scene. They contact fingers, sending Lucy through the universe and all of reality, giving her limitless and endless power. Jang goes into the room and gradually raises his weapon to Lucy's head. And afterward she comes to 100%. Her body vanishes, abandoning her garments. Jang discharges firearm and nothing. Del Rio comes in and shoots Jang to death. The dark matter in the room vanishes and transforms into a glimmer drive those grounds in Norman's grasp, in this manner growing and finishing his exploration. Del Rio asks where Lucy is. A message shows up on his telephone saying, "I'm all over the place." The film closes with an above shot of Jang's body, while Lucy's voice says this is how can be managed life.